Paul, do you have the plans for the fifth item?
I should.
We just have to see. Okay, you have it. Yeah. Okay, great.
Mhm. Good morning.
Okay, hey there. I'll go.
Matter, you want to sit here or
Morning all,
Yeah, just sit up there.
sit anywhere we want?
wherever's clever.
Whatever's open. Go around the corner here.
Hi, good morning. I'd like to call the Wednesday, December 18th, DAC meeting to order. We'll begin with roll call. Sarah Kane, Stephen, William House, Eleanor Burke, Nagendra Hassan, absent, and he did leave some comments for today. Louis Haywood, Lindsay Glass, absent, and Django Salaki. At this time, would the committee make a motion to adopt the minutes from the November 20th meeting?
I'll make a motion to adopt.
CPC motion to adopt the November 20th meeting, seconded by HDLC. All in favor?
Aye.
And anyone opposed? And the motion passes. We'll begin with the consideration of dockets. The staff will provide a brief overview, and then the applicant will have 5 minutes to present. We will then hear public comments, and each person will have 2 minutes to speak if there are public comments, and if there is opposition, the applicant will have 5 minutes to rebut. The committee will then discuss the project and can ask any questions, and then we'll vote on the application. The second item on today's agenda is design review 044-24. This is an administrative design review in accordance with Article 4, Section 4.5, and Article 16, Section 16.3.b of the CZO for an installation of temporary modular structures, including minor improvements to existing pavement in the ENORC, Eastern New Orleans Renaissance Corridor Use Restriction Overlay and CT Overlay District. We have Johnathan Eversberg here, signed up to speak on behalf of the applicant, and Alyssa White, who is a CPC staff member assigned to this assignment. And as a reminder, following the staff presentation, the applicant will have 5 minutes to present.
Design review 04424 is for a property located at 5700 Morrison Road. The request is for the installation of temporary modular structure, including minor improvements to existing pavement in the ENORC, Eastern New Orleans Renaissance Corridor Use Restriction Overlay and a CT overlay. The site is currently developed with an existing building and parking lot. The applicant has proposed a renovation with a limited scope. This renovation is expected to have little to no impact on the surrounding areas of the facility. Being that this site is within a design overlay district, it is subject to design review approval standards found in Article 18, Section 18.4 and 18.16 of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance. Based on the nature of the proposed renovations, staff has determined that this proposal meets the standard of the client. However, it should be noted that all required off-street loading spaces shall be a minimum of 12 feet in width, minimum of 35 feet in length, exclusive of aisle and maneuvering space, and have a vertical clearance of at least 14 feet Looking at the entire site, staff has identified 4 items for further consideration. Incorporating additional landscaping elements to improve the environmental impact of the parking lot and aesthetic appeal in accordance with Article 23. Enhancing the loading dock in accordance with Article 22. Improving circulation within the parking lot, defining personnel and vehicular movement with clear directional signage and marked pathways. And incorporating a drainage and maintenance plan to eliminate standing water and prevent damage to the abutting properties.
Jonathan?
Yeah, so just brief overview of the project. Okay, so UPS is going through a program right now where they are renovating, if you want to go to the first slide, renovating their existing distribution facilities, to implement some automation just to make operations flow smoother. While that building's shut down, they obviously need to continue shipping packages and getting everybody their goods. What this modular building does is gives them the opportunity to do so. So they'll be operating out of this modular building while this one is going through its renovation. Estimating roughly 12 months, right, John? Right. Right, so this will be, it's a prefab building. It gets erected, sits on little piers. It has loading bays all down the side. So the brown trucks will back up to it, conveyor belt system running throughout. Trucks will get loaded, they'll disperse from there to make their deliveries. So temporary structure, and we were really hoping to get out of this meeting, to talk to, I know there's a few items you guys brought up, like landscaping improvements, parking lot, flow, etc. Those, we hope to implement those on this bill. Yeah, to have those as considerations for the main buildings renovation, just because this will be so temporary, and once it's gone, everything's gonna be different anyway.
So the temporary structures go in, the interior of the main building is renovated. Is there exterior work on the main building, either site or the building itself?
I'll speak to that. There's going to be about a 30,000 square foot addition to the building footprint. It'll be off the, if you're using page southwest corner of the main building structure.
Okay. And then when the temporary facility comes out, is that area sort of restored as is, or will there be modifications at that point?
It'll be as is, so it's parking lot currently. So the only thing that will be there are a couple potholes in the ground from
Okay.
footers that we can backfill.
If it's temporary and they're just making upgrades to the existing facility and everything will move back there, why do you need 3,800 feet of paving concrete? That's what the plan said.
I'll answer that. The front, Morrison Road facing portion of the building will be used as a trailer unload. And so we need a concrete pad for a solid surface. The asphalt that's on site is employee parking. It's 2 inches over, probably 6 inches of stone, so just not heavy enough. So we would actually replace asphalt with concrete is what that is.
Okay,
It's not new impervious, it's just for the weight of the trucks.
thank you. I wasn't clear on that.
So
Appreciate it.
basically, end of day, no net change in impervious surface.
So I guess that speaks to the drainage plan that was also required, with us not adding any impervious or changing the way anything drains. Can that be a condition? Because so these would be completely 2 separate projects. But we won't even be, I'm not even involved in that one, but if we could push some of those requirements over to the main project.
I mean, I'll just relay that we had sort of discussions with safety and permits on which kind of has to interpret how the zoning ordinance applies on a case by case basis. And their general statement was that given the temporary nature of the structure, the zoning requirements don't apply. So I think, everything we've mentioned here is and, if adopted, would be recommendation rather than required. So I think the given the temporary nature, the requirements will be fairly limited.
And your time for this temporary structure is roughly 12 months, so
Right.
around a year. So.
That's obviously depending on how the construction goes on the main building. But it's
And our
projected.
goal on that is, start construction or assembly of this pre-manufactured unit in, March/April 2025. Operations will start in July, and July to July, plus or minus a month, weather dependent and all those fun things.
Okay. Any other questions? Would anyone like to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve, with some of the suggestions that were voiced, but also with the note that those are non-binding suggestions. And that given safety and permits determination about the sort of non-applicability of most of the zoning requirements, given the temporary nature, it's generally good as is.
Any of the architectural elements that may or may not be required is gonna come from.
So we talked to
Safety
them,
permit?
there is, yeah, I mean, everything's fine on the architecture.
Okay.
There was, I guess, to back up, there was a question, there's a building design standard that essentially says you have to have articulated entrances and all this stuff, and which would have required modification to the architecture. They determined that that does not apply given the temporary nature, just as kind of its normal site requirements do not. So I think this is all given the notion that this is something that will be there as a temporary thing while renovation happens and then go away.
Okay. Cool.
So we have a motion for approval from CPC. Is there a second from DPW? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you all.
Today's agenda is the consideration of design review 051-24. Site located at 126 Harrison Avenue. This is an administrative design review for a new dental office in the CC for the Transformation Design Overlay District. We have Duane. Arbo signed up to speak on behalf of the application. Ava is the city planner assigned to this project. And as a reminder, the staff will do a brief presentation and the applicant will have 5 minutes to present.
This is Quincy Green and Dr. Pavement Green, the owners. Brought them with me.
My name is Ava, and as stated, we are looking at a request for a design review in accordance with Article 4, Section 4.5, Article 18, Section 18.6, and a building design standards in accordance with Section 14.3.b, and an SLB1 Suburban Lake Area Neighborhood Business District for a new dental office. Thank you so much. We sent you some comments and we see that you made some changes.
Yes.
Those original, the design review approval standards. The main one was that the parking should not be the dominant visual element, and that was removed. There were some issues there with the setback with that parking there, and took care of that. Thank you so much. And then with the building design standards, it was basically in essence, the 50% transparency on the front and the visual connection, just making sure that the design was consistent with everything that was in that area. So, and these are the new plans.
Thanks, Ava. Yeah, if you would like to just give a brief presentation on this new proposal.
Sure. So we took down existing building that was on the left where the driveway is now. And we originally had that building to the left, but with the district that we're in, y'all wanted it up to the front right corner of the property, so we moved that around. So we've got it as far up and as far to the right as we can possibly go with it. But this helps things with the flow of traffic for parking, to be able to come in and go around the alley like that. I think it's gonna look good in the neighborhood. Do y'all see anything that jumps out to y'all that?
I'm sorry.
Number 3.
Oh,
So we have stucco everywhere around it. We've got crown stucco, we have vents for the for ventilation around the building. And we changed the windows and everything to make it look more commercial.
I was curious, because it's got, and it looks like it's leaning towards being a symmetrical facade, but it's slightly not. And I was wondering if the program could shift so that it could be, if that was possible, because it's just slightly off. And if your design was playing off an asymmetry, you know, in its concept, then I think having it not be symmetrical on either side would make sense. But it looks like it's trying to be symmetrical, but it's just a little bit off, which I think is a little problematic. It's the kind of, I see the offices, et cetera, I mean, any internal arrangements that could be people there or.
Well, the way we have the office set up right now with the flow of the office, it's the way we want it.
Well, the operatories themselves that are on the inside, I think it's on the second side. They have to be a certain width and length, and so to be able to fit 8 of them in the building, that's kind of where we were struggling a little bit, playing with pieces. Are you speaking to like from the front, how the main doors, is that what you were saying?
Well, usually when you have an arrangement like this, the windows would be spaced equally along the facade and the door would be centered. If that's not possible, then maybe if the door could shift out of the central position. So that it's not setting up that language of a door with 2 windows on either side that would typically be spaced evenly. And it's sort of leaning into the asymmetry of it, and it will allow the windows to sort of fall where they need to in terms of the program and not look just like a little, like it was built wrong, like it was designed one way, but builders didn't
It's
build
not
it.
saying,
Hmm.
you're saying it's not saying.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't a huge deal. I was just thinking that.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would wonder. On the right side, I thought I saw that it's the lobby on the right side and then a operatory room on
Yeah.
the left. So perhaps having larger windows on the right side that are kind of the same, height as the door or close to sort of like have that be kind of the public facing part of the front facade. And then I think that would sort of explain the asymmetry with the smaller windows on the.
Well, face to the right on the front, the lobby, and
Yes.
Yes.
would it work for that to flip? So that the door could be at the, on the right side?
The door all the way to the right. No, because this whole like hallway has to stay, and then that whole like hallway has to stay in order to
Okay.
fit the operatory
So
fit.
you wouldn't have those.
Yeah.
exception there.
Mhm.
Okay.
So, would a reasonable suggestion be to change, like to your point, make larger windows off to one side and still have the offset
Yeah.
front entry? Would that
Yeah.
suffice
If one area started to have its own design,
versus it looking?
Looking like it was drawing.
yeah, and then the aside aspect too.
Is that possible?
Yeah, that's it.
Is that
To
possible?
put larger windows on the right side and
Right,
then.
the window.
It's only not these windows larger.
Mhm. And then what do we do with these? Just leave them the same way that they are?
Yeah.
Okay. So these 2 on the right here.
To here, and then these would, I guess, be
Those
larger.
are- Okay, so the ones in the waiting room
Would stay
would
the same.
stay the same and then.
No,
these-
no, the
Yeah,
one up here.
opposite, yeah.
The ones in the operatory will
Operatories.
stay.
They stay.
Just to make a clearer indication that this is an intentional
designs, yeah, and not necessarily just, it was just uneven.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Because where the door is now, it can't be pushed anymore to the.
We really don't want to move because that affects the porch and everything.
And I think that the larger windows would help you a greater bit towards your transparency.
Yeah, visibility from the street.
Yeah,
Seeing that lobby.
Yeah.
And the lobby will be.
That's a good point.
What's the floor to ceiling?
It is, 10-foot ceilings or 9-foot ceilings.
And there's some level difference in the operatories versus.
Versus the room.
Right.
So, yeah, so there's a zoning requirement that it's 12 feet on the front. I mean, it can be 12 feet on the waiting room
And
and
then-
not 12 feet in the
yeah.
operatories. But just, yeah, have that in mind. There's that 12.
That's exactly what we said 12 and, yeah. And then
That'll help it to fit into the brick building, the part of next to, in the proportional, so your building doesn't look squat next to their portions that are.
You have some comments, from our committee member from capital projects who can't be here today.
I think
But that was on the. Some comments are that he recommended a brick facade to keep with post-era buildings in the surrounding area. That site plans could show more permeable surface area and landscaping, and that, the stacked parking could be problematic.
I think those might have been up.
Also addressing.
We took off the parking.
Yeah, these are, the ones we had just uploaded.
Okay, you must have read the earlier version.
I don't have an issue.
Okay.
That can be, we can have them both of them.
Yes. Yeah, you have to, or, correct.
A couple buildings on that street that have this stucco facade to these.
I'm looking at the right side elevation, that's now gonna be right on the corner property elevation, right? The side elevation, make sure that.
Nicole might be the fourth slide. No, that's the same.
They're like 7. or
That's
8.
old there. Yeah, that's all old.
The elevation hasn't changed.
This one, right?
Well, what it looks like, oh, there it is.
Okay. So.
That's, yeah, that's all old.
So. Do we have,
I've got, and this whole drawing is new, if y'all wanna look at this, but we did upload.
Thank you.
All the new stuff, the other day.
She's gonna pass on here. Thank you.
just wanted to make sure they're all windows. And then,
Along the side of the building.
yeah,
There are on the left side, but not on the alley side.
and so that's an alleyway,
Yeah.
not a street corner.
No. It's a firewall now, so.
That whole wall.
So that's basically considered a property line, essentially.
Yeah, we're like a foot off, and a foot 6 off the property line.
Yeah, well, in the way it's drawn in that site plan, it looks more like a street, so, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, so that being the old plan, that was all the way to the left side of the
Mhm.
property before. Okay. There's a landscape page too in there. But I don't know.
Sorry.
If there aren't any more comments, I will make a motion for.
Sorry. The first, everyone has the private.
Tell me about the circulation.
So if you're gonna be, there's parking in front of the building, there's parking on that street. We do have the handicap spot right there next to the building. You can drive in through here and then exiting, you can leave, go the alleyway and come back towards Harrison Avenue.
So the only parking spot over design, a handicap. And all
Yeah.
the stuff is for that.
The flow of traffic.
Yeah.
So,
Can you add,
There is no flow.
well, there was
It's
a
only
drive through that
handicap.
handy, but I guess, is there any type of restrictions on them being able to exit out the same side that they came in? Is the thought process?
yeah,
that they would drive
yeah,
through?
you're right, you can't, so I think because you can't, they couldn't put a, like a head-in handicap space and then back out, so that's to kind of come around the side. I suspect that there's a greater parking requirement than one space, I think it's 1 per 2 exam rooms. So you may need to add a few sort of angled spaces, either on the side or in the rear.
Okay.
Could they be stacked or do they have to be angled in that?
They can't be stacked, so they either have to be perpendicular, parallel, or angled.
Gotcha.
It really is a one-way driveway. And very limited, curb cut, Harrison's gonna be limited to 12 feet wide. The truncated domes, you're gonna take out. You don't use those in unsignalized driveways. I'll use the dome. Building for all the buildings, not like parallel to the property line on Harrison.
I think you said you'll end up with great depression.
Yeah,
It would-
with the one to the left and the one that's on the right, they're both up to the front right corner of the properties. And then there's all residential behind.
This is weird to fuck. Little off straight on the area. And then so then the rest of that, that's gonna be like paved landing in front of the. Building to Harrison.
Yeah, the two on each side of the stairs will have a paved landing, leave a sidewalk on the left.
And that sidewalk. Might be a little bit. Right. Sidewalk in the property line.
It might be, I'm not as sure exactly where it's at on that front.
Usually. You know, the
Mhm.
property line.
Also, I don't see a landscape plan.
But are you showing it? I see a paved landing at the bottom of the stairs. How is that connected to the sidewalk? The paved in front of the building?
It's gonna be right next to the sidewalk in the front. It would have to be connected, I'm guessing.
It's a dark gray.
Yeah, yeah, it just has the two, side by side landings. And then sure we were gonna put concrete going to the front of that sidewalk there. That front sidewalk, like you said, a foot or so away.
Yeah.
And that whole sidewalk in the front has to be redone. It is, yeah, it's a bad shape.
So. The rest of the landscaping plan or something. How the front yards. Are.
Okay.
You were more concerned about there being some type of space between the sidewalk and those landings.
Concerned with the drawing being accurate.
It would sort of like to scale, like in terms of straight parallel. That'd be just a portion of the rendering, or is it?
Yeah, I mean, we could connect that for the driveway in the front. I mean, the sidewalk, just right there from the landings.
Going back to you know, setback, property line, your landscape plan, how that's gonna work, I mean, your front yard. There'll be stuff, I guess you don't have a front yard,
So it'd be pretty close to the water area.
but yeah, I would have. Yeah, the opportunity to just show some parallel parking spaces. You could have like a 12-foot aisle. 8-foot, I think, parking spaces.
Along the back, like, yeah.
Instead of-
And we, yeah.
That's an accessible entrance next to the parking area.
Yeah, it's like a rain a lot.
That's good.
Do you see a landscape?
No, it's not even in the index.
I guess they're waiting on this design first, we get to see if they.
Okay, I'll make a motion for approval with the following comments. Number one, look at modifying the front facade design to increase the window size on the right side. Number two, potentially narrow the driveway width and reconfigure, you know, eliminate the truncated domes, add angled or parallel spaces along the side or rear. Provide a landscape plan for review by Parks and Parkways. What am I forgetting? Any other comments? Okay, with those comments.
All in favor?
Uh,
Opposed? And the motion passes. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Fourth item on the agenda is the consideration of design review 053-24. The site is located at 5434 Magazine Street. This is an administrative design review in accordance with Article 4, Section 4.5, and Article 12, Section 12.3 of the CZO for a renovation and a CPC reservation
the other side,
corridor design overlay district. We have James
item 4, yes.
Catalano signed up to speak on behalf of the application, and Bentley McMillan is our CPC staff member assigned for this case. As a reminder, the following staff presentation, the applicant will have 5 minutes to present.
Good morning, so, design review 24 is for the site located at 735 through 741 Octavia Street. Excuse me, and is located in the HUB1 Historic Urban Neighborhood Business District and CPC Character Preservation Corridor Design Overlay District, which triggers a DAC review. So the site includes an existing 2-story commercial structure with a lot area of 3,756 square feet and a floor area of 5,298 square feet. So the goal of the proposal is to remediate structure issues as well as asbestos. The proposal will also include a second floor in addition with a square footage of 1,160 square feet, which will bring the total square footage to 6,458 square feet. The proposal will extend the roof line of the site along Octavia Street to approximately 35 feet 10 inches, which matches the overall roof pitch of the site. The proposed second floor addition includes an outdoor utility space, a balcony, as well as several office spaces. No parking is proposed or required. So the site complies with the CPC Character Design Corridor Overlay District, as the proposal includes a second floor addition that is consistent and compatible with the existing design of the building and the surrounding development character of the neighborhood. The proposal is also pedestrian friendly and will include additional landscaping and lighting. My comment for further review includes permeable open space, because right now you'll be required to provide 376 square feet So have you already spoken to safety and permits as to whether this addition triggers that? Okay, would you all be willing to look at adding permeable open space, excuse me, to the courtyard area or maybe along the balcony?
Would that entail the entire existing structure and the proposed structure is the entire square foot of the property?
Right.
So would the permeable space need to have some sort of drain? Or we can't open it up to the earth?
I think that would be a question for safety and permits.
What's the existing,
It's
is
not,
the site totally covered with building?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's gonna be grandfathered
Okay.
because, so, yeah, I think you're gonna be good on building space.
Would you like to walk us through looking?
Sure. Existing two-story commercial building has 4 tenants currently. A salon, a restaurant, a gym on the first floor, and the second floor is office space for a music studio. The current owner would like to do basically a facelift and bring some a little more uniformity to the facades. Add a balcony, new wood storefront at the corner, new openings, and a new rhythm of the windows along the Octavia side. And all new siding, all new roofing. And basically the addition is just an extrusion of that second floor back deeper into the property. The new proposal calls for 3 tenants on the ground floor, and the entrance to the second floor tenant would kind of have its own distinct storefront along Octavia as well. That kind of matches that wood storefront.
My first question was, in terms of impact resistance, is it possible to make the store window that you have a mullion a little bit larger? I guess my concern is these are starting to read almost like finished doors in terms of the proportion, rather than the store door that would have, a store window that would have had, more rectangular proportion, and it just is a very relentless article, and I wasn't sure if that was happening because of impact glass size, or if that filter mullion, so that it could line up more with the window where it's above.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a strong enough case to keep it in terms of, we were just trying to create a rhythm along that front, but I think 4 larger openings, yeah. 4 larger glass openings on the front and then 5 on the side, I think would be fine just to match the transom above.
I mean, I guess I'll say overall, I'm sort of, as an HDLC person, staff with the sort of quirky features, like the windows at the top and the second floor, lost, and the stair window on the side elevation also being lost. I understand wanting to, regularize it, but also those little features are what make it interesting, special. So I guess I would just encourage you to keep those. And then my other question was, I think it's a little odd to have the balcony side elevation without a door to access it. Right now, you only have windows. You might want to consider putting a door in that position, or not having a balcony. I see that you're trying to create a side feature, which I think is helpful to break up that long facade, but maybe a canopy would be better if you don't want a door. It's really weird to have a balcony with no access. Walk through window like the others. That would work better. And I think that was it. Me. One other thing. Are you demolishing more than 50% of it?
Well, it would be a replacement, so
I mean, but.
the
you're
roof,
demolishing. So just look into how much existing roof you're demolishing.
Okay.
Like frame structurally. Because if it's more than 50% of the total roof, it will need to go to HDLC demolition roof. For roof demolition. And you might wanna. I don't think that we saw it on magazine, but strip that, probably for the removal of the two windows at the second floor. But if it looks like you're going over 25% removal, then that facade will also trigger HDLC review.
does that trigger on the Octavia side as well?
No, just the main primary facade magazine. You haven't submitted to safety and permit.
No.
So when it comes in, you'll just wanna that into your timeline if you are demolishing whether it'll have to be eliminated. But I don't, I think the staff could recommend approval.
Thank you.
You always put planters, it looks like the floor below has planters along the side. And match that up, offset it, save you money about it.
Mhm.
But
I think I agree on the comment on the balcony. I think the intent was a walk-through window. But I think a canopy could probably give it that presence that the client is looking for as an entrance.
Either way. It's just that, for what it is. Not like a Popeye.
Mhm.
Seems like houses, bridges, I want to get them through like these windows.
Like a wall, like a floor to ceiling. Yes, it's very common.
we had that here,
They're
like,
both
last
split windows.
last month we had that.
Yeah, I mean, that's not unusual, but this is a window that you have to climb out of.
If that isn't actually good.
No, that's an original detail.
And the Sanborn maps do show that this originally did have a balcony wrapping the corner. So that's where we kind of pulled that.
I think that's a
Concept.
great improvement.
You have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation.
Second.
Second by CPC, all in favor?
Right.
Any opposed? And the motion. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
No.
We got one more that.
Sarah sent him revised. Is anybody here for it?
No.
Well. So the item on the agenda, looks like the applicant is not here. The consideration is for zoning docket 007-24. Located at 1122 Forstall Street. This is an administrative design review for an accessory surface parking lot at a major intersection as defined by Article 18, the comprehensive zoning ordinance. Laura is the assigned CPC staff member. Yeah,
And since we don't have an applicant, can we just quickly make some comments?
sure.
So Laura, one thing is, they've got 11 spaces in a row without an island, so they're gonna need to eliminate one of the spaces and put an island in. This kind of strip on the right side to the rear property line needs to be at least 10 feet deep. Because that's that buffer yard requirement. They may need to kind of pop some pavement all the way at the side property line so a car can kind of back up and turn. You know what I'm saying? So like, if, right here, if they just kind of do an apron, say, have this car.
Oh, okay. Is that okay to do, or is that?
Yeah, they don't have the buffer yard requirement on that side, it's just, right?
Laura, were there any comments from the NPP meeting about, is there anyone saying if they have an issue with this being next door to them?
I honestly haven't. It's stuff.
It's
But
just
the
a vacant
there
lot right
was,
now?
it's vacant, it was a Nora lot.
Okay.
Nora sold it to Sankofa to be used as an accessory parking lot. So if it is not used as an accessory parking lot to that fresh stop market, I could give it.
Yeah, one kind of weird, it's like there's a shared driveway between this lot and or the big lot. Used to have two. Used to be two driveways. One on one side of the property and one on the other. Rebuilt. The DPW rebuilt it as one big wide driveway. I'll have to. Not showing it on here, but essentially we have to.
To replace the curb and the sidewalk.
They don't need to replace the curb really, but. You know, in order for them to have a break between the two driveways, they're gonna have to cut out.
Maybe that's why they.
like,
left
the
it.
others. They're not showing. It's a driveway. Up there.
They just need to. Do something. Sidewalk.
And. I mean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's like, talk about it. If they don't take out the existing one before that one, that's gonna be like an extension of the one now, right? Have a driveway.
Across the
all the
whole
way
thing.
across.
So what would be the?
They're gonna be cutting out. Driveway to be, you know, it's sawing it out. Placing it with grass.
I will make a motion of approval with the comments that we can.
All in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Motion.
I said,